Can you integrate knowledge and transformers? Could there be a close relationship between knowledge graphs and RAG? Okay. Now, RAG. So you can use RAG to improve to test. We're in choosing a model. So if you want to use RAG, you can do that. For example, let's take an example. If you go to ChatGPT Plus, I'm sorry because it's a paid version, but at one point you're going to have to put $20 into the system to see for 1 month. You put $20 in there for 1 month to see what's going on. You can now that question there by a LinkedIn user can be interesting because I can go to ChatGPT Plus and I can say I want to evaluate this system. I want to see if I like this model. Why don't I create my own GPT? What I can say today is that on OpenAI, you can create your own GPT with your own documents and your own data. Before they had plugins, but now they have abandoned the plugins. Be careful of that. They keep changing. All these platforms keep changing their minds and changing everything. So in any case, today you can go to ChatGPT Plus and you can upload a PDF. And you can upload a PDF of all your marketing prices or whatever you want. And then you can immediately ask it questions. There's no waiting time. It will integrate it immediately. It will take what you know and it'll feed it into the model and the model will answer. And then you can test to see how much this works. It's one way of choosing a model. Then you can try to do it with prompts on Hugging Face, where you just copy pieces of text and augment your input. You can try with any system you want. What I've noticed, because I use these things day out and day out, day in and day out, and night in and night out, as Babish knows, I'm a 24/7 AI crazy geek. So I notice that sometimes it just forgets things. When you do that with that RAG system, you put them in your own ChatGPT, okay, which we did with Babish on our GitHub repository. We have a chat. We created a GPT on the GitHub repository. You can click on it and you can use it if you have ChatGPT Plus. But I've noticed that it answers some questions very well, but then it forgot other things I did. So now, if I want to choose it, am I going to say that's a bad model? Maybe now I have to fine tune it to see, but fine tuning is a cost. So now I have to take a large amount of data, fine tune it and make a choice. So now you can see that there is a process. Can I use the model as it is? Can I use the model if I make better prompts? Can I use the model if I fine tune it? Can I use the model if I introduce RAG? So now what seems some kind of magical dream is becoming a nightmare, because now we're realizing that it's magic as long as I don't want to do something in real life with it. Then all of a sudden it hits me. I have to work a lot. So that means I'll have to build a data set, test the prompts, fine tune, add documents, what we say is retrieval augmented generation, or just augmented generation on GPT, where you just add things. Now that I did that with GPT, I'm going to have to go do that with Hugging Face. Hugging Face has thousands of models, thousands and thousands and thousands of models. Which one am I going to choose? Google is a jungle of models too. So it's like going to a shop. Now you have to think, if I go to a shop and I want to buy a pair of shoes, am I going to try all the shoes in the shop? I'm going to go crazy. I'm not going to test all the shoes in the shop. I'm going to take the first pair of shoes I like and it's not too expensive and get out of that shop as fast as possible. So I might try, if I were you, I'd say, why don't I go to Hugging Face? Because I want to be smart about this and try Llama 2. Okay. Llama 2 is a very big, it's an LLM that comes from ex-Facebook called Meta. They didn't do a lot of work. They just copied the original architecture of the 2017 article by Google It's even written in their paper in paragraph 2. You can read it. They said we just took the basic model and we just piled a lot of data into it. But Meta, ex-Facebook, has so much data that's not that bad. So maybe you can try that free version. And there are a lot of interfaces there where people create interfaces where you can test it online. So you might want to test a free version, and you might want to test the pay version. So now we're going to test OpenAI, we're going to test Google. I've run all of these. I can honestly say that there's no big difference between Google Vertex Gemini and GPT-4V, which is the last model with images. There's not a big difference, because the more we advance in time, the more it's going to look like a car dealership where the person says, my car is the best. So what are you going to buy? A Mercedes, a Porsche, or a Ford? But at one time, when you reach a certain price level, all these cars look like, if you watch TV, all these ads look the same. You're wondering, oh, isn't that the car I just saw? No, that's another ad. So little by little, with competition, they're all beginning to look the same and do the same thing. Okay, because there are a lot of users doing the same thing. So you should maybe try a free version like Llama. So that means you try the prompt, you try to fine tune it, you try RAG on it, and then you see what happens. Then you try a paid one, either Google Vertex AI with Palm 2 or Gemini and all their variations. Google has a pile of them too. And then you go to OpenAI, and then you can try and see. And then when you reach your budget, they all have budgets where you can say, I'm not going over $10, I'm not going over $20. Well, then you might get somewhere. And then when you're all ready, you go see your customer, and your customer says, I don't like it. That's what happens like 9 times out of 10. And then you have to convince your customer that he's dreaming. And then you have to take what I've been saying for 30 minutes and explain it to him. You have to take your customer by the hand and explain that he's not in a sci-fi movie, that he's in reality. And if he continues his sci-fi ball, you're going to leave, and then he'll have nothing. Or maybe he wants something that will improve his company, but he's going to have to calm down a bit. So it's going to be tough to choose it, and it's going to be tough to explain everything we just said to your customer.